It's great that you've tuned in for another week of Kids Connection, especially since it's our last training day of the month.
Yes, all month we've been training for a 5K. We might not be training for a real race, but we've definitely followed a plan to grow stronger in our relationship with God. And we for sure put in some serious practice. You might say we've been rocking our commitment.
Commitment is making a plan and putting it into practice. And you've all done a fantastic job with our training challenges these past few weeks. And don't worry, if you've missed some of our training, or if you're new, you're here at the perfect time.
Well, we can't give out any more challenges until we've at least had our warm-up.
Oh yeah, everyone stand up, get ready to sing our theme song for the last time.
Plans for me are good. You hold my future. You're working all the time. You're the mountain mover. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through. Trust your every word, 'cause I believe that you're working for my good. Yes, you're committed. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You are my hope. You are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through. Yeah, I know that you're still working on me in everything.
When Jesus rode into Jerusalem, the week before Passover, the crowds were excited, but the religious leaders were not. In fact, all week they sent men to try to trap Jesus with trick questions.
More trick questions? Last week, Jesus gave the disciples some good trick questions, so I think he can handle it.
Jesus knew that the religious leaders were a pretty prideful bunch. They only wanted people to listen to them. Jesus even warned the crowds about them.
Wait, Jesus threw shade? But I thought he was the Son of God. Shouldn't he be nice to people all the time?
Well, warning people of things that might hurt them isn't really being mean, especially if you hear what he said. Watch out for the teachers of the law. They like to walk around in long robes, be greeted with respect. They love the most important seats in the temple, and they say long prayers just to look good.
Okay, but is it really polite to point out people's flaws like that?
Remember, these leaders are supposed to be humble, not look for praise and serve others, not serve themselves. Jesus is reminding them that teachers have flaws too, and we need to watch out for them.
Okay, that makes sense.
One day, Jesus and his disciples visited the temple. Jesus sat across from the place where people were bringing their offerings. He watched the crowd put money into the offering boxes.
What kind of offering? Did they bring animals, grains, money?
On this occasion, it was coins, and the rich were bringing them in by the bagful.
That's awesome! I wish someone would have given us bags and bags of gold coins.
After all the rich men had put in their gold, and poor old widow came along and put in 2 copper pieces in the box, which was really only worth a couple of pennies.
Well, with all that gold, she might as well just kept it. She was poor after all. Who would even know?
It might seem like just a couple of coins isn't a big deal, but Jesus saw what this woman gave, and he was blown away by her offering. He asked his disciples to come to him. He said to them, "What I'm about to tell you is true. That poor widow has put more into that offering box than all the others. They all gave because they were rich, but she gave because she was poor. She put everything in she had."
Okay, hold on a second. So even though the rich gave really big bags, they didn't really give what they should because they had more to give. But because the woman gave more, because it's all she had?
Jesus knew that those 2 coins were all that woman had, and she still decided to give them as an offering to God. It was a way that she could worship God and show him how much she trusted him.
This woman really showed us what it means to truly live for God. And we can follow her example.
That's a great reminder that we need to practice living for God.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how he created us and loves us so much that he made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Mark, chapter 12, verses 41 through 44.
When Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey the week before Passover, the crowds were excited.
Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna! In the name of the Lord!
But the religious leaders were not.
He's turning the world upside down.
We'll have to fix that, won't we?
All week, the religious leaders sent men to try trapping Jesus with trick questions.
Teacher, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar?
Every time, Jesus gave a wise answer that caught them off guard.
Give back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give back to God what belongs to God.
Jesus knew the religious leaders were so puffed up with pride, they didn't want people to listen to anyone else. Jesus even warned the crowds about them.
Watch out for the teachers of the law. They love to have the most important seats. They take over the houses of widows. They say long prayers to show off.
One afternoon, Jesus and his disciples visited the temple. They sat down to rest for a moment across from the box where people came to put money they offered to God. Perhaps the disciples, mostly poor fishermen themselves, were impressed by the rich men giving gifts.
Check out his robes.
I think they actually might be silk.
Jesus watched the rich men dropping handfuls of gold coins into the box. He knew that, like the religious leaders, they were proud to show how important they were.
Check this out, world. Money, money, money. Always sunny in a rich man's world.
Even though these wealthy men were giving impressive amounts of money, Jesus knew they had so much, this was easy for them. Simply a drop in the bucket.
Huh. She looks a little out of place.
The next person in line clearly wasn't wealthy. In fact, her patched robe showed she didn't have an extra cent to spare.
A widow, probably.
At that time, if a woman's husband died, she had no way to earn money and often had to live on next to nothing.
2 pennies?
How's that gonna help anyone?
Jesus was watching the woman too, but he saw something different, something more.
Come over here, all of you.
The disciples gathered around Jesus.
What I'm about to tell you is true. That poor widow has put more into the offering box than all the others.
Jesus' friends tried to sort it out.
Excuse me. Pennies versus gold?
You couldn't buy an order of fish nuggets with that.
Jesus knew what his disciples were thinking.
The others all gave a lot because they are rich, but she gave even though she is poor. She put in everything she had. That was all she had to live on.
Oh.
When you put it like that.
The rich men, like the religious leaders, were concerned with what things looked like on the outside. They didn't want to give in a big way that might force them to change on the inside. But the poor woman, who had almost nothing, chose to give everything. And Jesus saw her heart and knew that her pennies were worth far more than the rich man's gold.
He's got a plan. He's got a.
Yes, he do.
He's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know. Let's go. I know that I can trust him. Yeah. I know that I can trust him. Yeah. No matter what the season, yeah. His plans are for a reason. Yeah. I know they are good. I know they are best. The reason I know is because he said he's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know. And when I'm feeling so sad, hey, when I am afraid, God will never leave me. No, 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 his love will never change. I know they are good. I know they are best. The reason I know is because I said he's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a plan for me. He's got a really, really, really awesome plan for me. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know.
That story was a great example of how to live for God. The widow gave everything she had because she wanted to honor God and show how much she loved him.
And remember, Jesus himself gave us the best example of what it looks like to live God's way, to love God and others with everything we have. This is why it's important to practice living for God.
We can live for God every day when we put what we believe into action. So before you do something, stop and ask yourself, will this show God's love?
That is another week and another theme. Tune in next Sunday as we head into our next theme of Press Play. Get in the mix, where we will be learning to have confidence and see ourselves the way that God sees us.
All right, well, we have to run, but we have a super exciting video coming about our virtual VBS, so stick around. We will see you later. Bye!
Get ready!
I am a priceless treasure. God knows me, God hears me, God is my comfort.
To embark on an epic quest
Nothing better, forgiven and chosen forever.
and discover God's greatest treasure.
I